2, 3. Hello. Oh my, that's weird. All right. Whoa, what's going on here? Let's go back to the normal.
Okay.
Oh my God. All right. What?
Just go over that one.
Oh wait, there we go. Oh wait, we're there. Hello and welcome to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show where I like to screw up the intros as often as possible. Tonight, we're glad that it's another one of our exclusive interviews. And our special guest, very special guest for this evening, actor, poet, musician, time traveler. He's mad, he's bad, and he's dangerous to know. Lawrence Bayne.
Yay.
Hey, kids, how you doing?
Anyone that
we're
encourages
doing good.
Anyone that encourages me to drink while interviewing them is the top interview in my book.
Anyone that prevents me from drinking during an interview becomes, blacklisted.
Oh,
So
good, excellent.
Yeah. We would never do that.
Never the twain shall cross.
No, exactly.
Oh, welcome to the show, Lawrence. Really happy to have you on.
Man, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to still be in the X-Men universe to this day, and that's something I can only partially talk about, as you know.
Yes. We've had a few other of your ilk on the show who are who have the red Disney laser dot on their head, the back of their heads at all times in case let anything slide.
Working for the mouse is hard to man.
We've heard he signs those NDAs in blood, so we don't want to mess with it.
My blood.
Yeah, exactly.
South Park had a fairly brutal version of Mickey Mouse that sort of, I think, isn't too far from the truth as far as like representing the brand and making sure nobody messes that up. So,
well, I'm 62 years old, and I saw Mickey get lampooned on T-shirts during the 70s. That was some really harsh shit.
Yeah.
However, just to put it out there, though, when I got took on for 97 again. We had to meet everybody, and the biggest joy of that was meeting people I'd worked with in studio way back in the day when we did TAS. And now we're in sensitivity training, and we're being told, to be sensitive and stuff. Now,
how's the sensitivity training going?
How does it go?
How's it going?
Well, between me and Cal Dodd, like we kind of held sway over that little class. Just saying, good. What do you think, we're assholes? I'm sorry.
I think we're breaking ground here, though. I don't think it had been previously announced that you're back for 97.
Well, see, that's as far as I can go with it, though, boys.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I'm happy to hear that much. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we're just happy to hear that as fans because there's no other cable.
Second season, been signed up for the second season now, 97.
Oh, awesome!
Beautiful. Other than that, man, the mouse will kill me. So
yes, Dan, he did, but that's all he can say. So,
once I realized that Aid and the rest of the cast had been been allowed to say that they were back. I'm allowed to say I'm back. I'm just not allowed to say as to whom.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because you were the voice of Cable, the voice of Eric the Red.
Yes.
And
that is
Captain
true.
America.
Captain America.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So could be any of those or none.
It could be. It should be. But
we don't want to get you in any trouble. We understand. We understand.
I feel like we're treading in those waters already.
Yeah, we don't want to get you in trouble.
I was a big utilitarian voice back in the first series too. I would go in there and do the main character Cable, and then all of a sudden there's me and Cal going back to World War II times doing Wolverine and Captain America, and I did lots of utilitarian voices. Some guy screaming in a crowd, lots of voice walla, because I got lots of range as far as disguising who my main character is, and I was given. Hit me.
Question then. So you're doing these little stray voices on X-Men, you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so are you the guy who's doing all the impressions, like Jack Nicholson and like Judge Wapner, and
Oh,
there's somebody in the first season who's doing all of these impressions, and they're very obvious.
oh my
And
God, that might have been Cecil. That might have
Oh.
been. It might have been Cecil. Long
There's
may he
always
reign.
some various punk in a bar that's like, I'm gonna make this shot. Like there's just
Oh yeah, I did a lot of those. I did a
yeah.
lot.
Oh, that's very cool.
okay,
You know what? I think I did one celebrity impression, but I think most of those were Cecil. You'll have to get somebody else. And man, long may he reign. The people we lost, Norm Spencer. Norm was a great friend of mine, and a scoundrel.
Yeah.
And I'm a fellow scoundrel. Norm and I got along quite well. I can't share one story, but I can share one story where we were on. Norm wanted to get into on-screen acting in the biggest way, but he was too fucking handsome. You know what I mean? He did some great stage work with that face and that voice. Do you know his license plate said? His license plate, personalized license plate in Ontario, said "Voice 2." It's a measure of the guy's. It's a measure of the guy's sort of modesty.
Yeah.
Because
really,
to many of us, he was voice 1.
Mhm.
yeah.
He had checks from stuff that he did where it would actually turn over. It would be, it's check number 1 for you again for this, Norm. The guy was amazing. An amazing actor. And we did a series called Top Cops, which was based on true cop stories. And Norm got shot and he fell down, in such a way that I wish I could demonstrate, but he fell down in such a way that one of his legs was still cocked up in the air. And the director said, "Norm, let your leg drop." And
Rigor mortis hasn't set in yet.
I'd already blown the scene. I was fucking cracking up so loud.
Oh.
Norm was a sweet man. He came to my Halloween party as the Grim Raper. And
oh my God!
let me tell you what the costume was. Basic Grim Reaper gear and a 15-inch rubber dildo that he just hung out the front of the rope.
Oh wow!
That
oh
was
God.
Oh, that's awesome. I love hearing
That's
those sort
deep
of stories.
sense of
It's
humor.
nice humanizing.
Oh
those sort
man,
of
Norm was funny, man, and he was relentlessly funny, and he didn't give a shit. In rooms full of people, you run across people in our trade. I can't say the name, but there's a guy in our trade who was like a pathological liar.
Mm-hmm.
And Norm, just every time we were in a waiting room, and I miss the waiting rooms, dude. Since the pandemic, I don't get 17 of my buddies in a room when we're auditioning because there's no competition in voice, man.
Yeah.
We just walk in the room and go, "Baby, good to see you," right? But there was this one guy, and Norm would just flay this guy alive. You just look at him and go, "Oh, you're talking bullshit again." Everybody knew he was talking bullshit, but we just go, this guy was so regularly a chronic liar that we just go, "Yeah, okay, pal, whatever." But Norm, every time, "You're a fucking liar." I love Norm.
Gone too soon for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, well, generally how this seems to operate is I'll ask you some questions about your life and career, and then Davan has some.
And I'll lie about it.
Excellent, as expected.
Go ahead, man.
And Davan will interject with what do we refer to them as, Davan? It's just weird, not weird. It's
random questions.
Random questions.
I have random questions.
All right. So where were you born, Lawrence? Where did you begin?
Born about 14 blocks away from where I am right now. I was born at the corner of Church and Bloor in Toronto.
Yes.
In the Grace Hospital, Salvation Army Hospital, 1960, 6:47 a.m. on November the 11th.
I don't think anyone's gotten that specific before.
Well, somebody said you were born on 11/11, and some mystic in Newfoundland said, "I'm going to read your charts." And so 11/11 apparently is a big bloody deal. And okay, fine. But I was born there. Yes. 6:47 a.m., November 11th. My mother said she heard taps being played in the parking lot by the Salvation Army Band for the 6 million war dead and thought I was dead.
Oh
my God.
Wow. Well, thank God she was
very high at the time. They just, back then it was drugs, sure. And
give you the good stuff.
oh my God.
And what did your folks do? or what were there?
My mother was a Bell telephone operator.
Oh wow, that's a
Sitting
job you
in
don't see
front
that
of
often
those
anymore.
multi-corded switchboards like this, with a bouffant this high, with several other bouffants that high in a row, and she'd take me to work, and I would get fawned over by these women. And I'd leave there with about 5 different kinds of lipstick on my face. You said hi. And my mother was that, and my father was the concierge at the King Edward Hotel.
Oh wow.
Which meant he knew all the wrong people.
Yes, of course.
And supplied them with all the wrong stuff.
He passed, I was a concierge once myself.
Were you? But yeah. I think back in the day when you had to wear a suit and that was it. The old man would get, approached by people and asked many different questions. My father was actually raised in Montreal. Oh. And he was we're talking about my stepfather here. If you want to ask about my biological father, we'll get there. But my stepfather raised me from age 5. Mm-hmm. He was the guy who introduced me to all things entertainment. Mm. He would sit down. He'd let me watch movies on Channel 7 late night movies here in Toronto, out of Buffalo. Irv Weinstein. It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah.
That guy. But I watched The Wolfman. I watched Dracula. I watched The Mummy. And my father was an ardent film fan, and he was an ardent jazz buff. And kind of raised me up good,
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Yeah,
mine too.
Good values, and yeah,
that's awesome. So did you always like? I mean, you're obviously an animated person. Was acting and theater and stage? Is that all something that you wanted to do from a young age, or is that something that came later in life?
It's funny. My mother, wanted to be the most notorious stage mother in the world, and she saw the animated stuff you're talking about when I was 5 and 6.
Well, game knows game. I mean, I recognize
and the fact that I was a very advanced reader very early. Mm-hmm. Reading was something that I glommed onto very quickly. And she took me to a talent agency in Toronto when I was 7 or 8, and they said, he's too brown. Oh. Now, I'm Indigenous, and I am a Scots, and I am Icelandic, and I am... I'm Cree, Scots, Indigenous, Icelandic. I'm the result of some very strange goings on the Bering Strait way back.
Yes.
So, but I was too brown as a child. As I got older, I got less brown. Mm-hmm. But I heard every racial slur by the time I was 10 in school. Every single one, guys.
Really?
Wow. And it didn't harden me. It made me think, wow, I'm pretty goddamn special. They got so many names. Wow.
Yeah, this guy's got range. He could be everything.
And I still do. But now, because there's an exclusivity going on in the business now, I don't go out for Hispanic roles anymore. And I can do 10 kinds of Hispanic. I go out for Russian roles now because, they're fucking villains again.
Yeah.
And Indigenous is, I ride waves of Indigenous because, Indigenous popularity comes and goes in films. Now, right now, of course, the new one coming out with Brad Pitt and I think the Scorsese one, is it Scorsese?
Oh, yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon, fantastic.
Yeah, it's
and in Canada, Jennifer Podemsky is also doing some great stuff. I've worked with Jennifer before. But I've always seen it as, it's the brand new Renaissance. We're getting another Indigenous wave. I won an award from First Americans in the Arts for my portrayal of Russell Means, who was one of the founding members of the American Indian movement. Mm-hmm. By the way, the first organization recognized by the FBI as an internal terrorist organization.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Well, it's funny.
I do a film called Lakota Woman, Siege at Wounded Knee. Also with my spiritual father, August Schellenberg, who was in that as well. And we film it in Rapid City, and we film it on location at the Rosebud place where the siege took place. And we are followed around the city by little vans with radars and
flower vans.
And it was produced by Jane Fonda.
Oh wow.
And on the wrap party night, I got to slow dance with Jane Fonda.
Oh wow, that's
she was
a good night.
She was wonderful. Yeah. All right. I blather on. Ask your
no,
question.
that's awesome. Actually,
No, that's how we like it.
This is how we like it. Before I let
Yeah.
Davan do a random one, I was going to ask you. I noticed your first credit is on one of my favorite bands' music video, Pink Floyd. So how did that come about?
Okay, I've got this story down to a T, so I won't even ramble. Okay.
All right.
I go out one night with my best friend, and we get fucking hammered, and we're getting up in the morning, and I'm. It's like it's a Saturday as well, so it's very rare, and it's 9 o'clock. And I'm just hungover. Our eyes are bleeding. We're so hungover. And the phone rings. And it's my brand new first talent agents, Margot Lane. They've never called me for anything because, I submitted a bullshit resume. I hadn't done anything except some plays in the University of Toronto. But I padded out with other nonsense. Anyway, they call and go, would you like to go to an audition for Pink Floyd? It's an audition for a music video. And my head is just throbbing, man. Like there's weasels eating my skull. But boy, Pink Floyd comes through and I go, Pink Floyd video? And my friend, he chirps up. He goes, you got to go, man. You got to go.
Of course. He was right.
I go. I enter a room half the size of a football stadium, and it's packed with actors. All right. It's packed with people in aviator gear. There's about 700 children there. There's native people or native representatives of people, because back then white people would go in and try to do natives too. And I am just, I don't know what I look like because I feel like a bag of stomped assholes. But I go in and I sit there. I sit there for a while, and I'm sitting and I can't do this. And then they call my name, and I go into the room, and there's about 30 people behind 17 tables all joined together, and they're looking at me. And I my first thing I ever did was mime, man. So what I did was, because they ignored me, I standing there and like, and I just sort of did a fake lean and a fake drink and went, fuck you, like this. And I walked out, and then somebody comes and grabs me. What's your name? Lawrence Bayne. I got the job, man. I got the job. It was the strangest thing because I was there with two really good actors, Billy Maristy and I'll remember his name in a minute. And we were real natives. And we got to the hotel to do the audition. Again, strange ground for me. Really? We're auditioning in a hotel? And we're standing in front of 3 elevators to go up to the suite to wait to, re-audition. And I said to the guys, I said, whatever elevator door opens, you win. Okay. We all laughed. Okay. My elevator door didn't open. And actors do all sorts of, superstitious thing to take the pressure off themselves. And I went, okay, that's it. I'm out. Fine. So I was going up there to do the thing. I got called in and I met Storm Thorgerson. You want to look that up, kids. Storm Thorgerson designed Yes albums. He designed all the Pink Floyd albums, and he directed their first works on camera. And I meet Storm Thorgerson, and he says, "Oh, he's a Cockney bastard, and he might be just as hungover as I was the day before." And he's, "What were you Indian?" I went, "Yeah, I'm a whole fucking tribe, man." And he laughs. He goes, "Here's what I want you to do. Yeah, take my keys." He throws me the hotel keys because they were keys still. He goes, "I want you to come into the hotel room, and then I just want you to discover me here, and then I want to see your reaction." Okay. So I go
this is going to have a twist.
I go outside, and then I open the door to walk in, and he's right there, and I ignore him. I go over to the bar fridge and I grab 2 bottles of the little mini Jack, and I go, and I look over him and I threw the keys at his fucking head as hard as I could. And he went, "Okay, you're hired." And I was in Calgary the next day, man.
Wow.
And he was wonderful. Storm was wonderful. So that's how I got into that. That was the first award-winning video in the world of, that kind of, that milieu of music appreciation. I think played for like endlessly on MTV and stuff like that. And I was walking through back when they used to sell TVs by the tons. I was walking through the Eaton Center, and there was like 75 TVs, and I looked over, and there was my face doing this video, and that started it. And then I got a real agent, a wonderful agent named Kerry Follis, who could bullshit better than me and got me way good roles.
That's amazing.
You're doing auditions all wrong.
Yeah, me too.
Don't give a shit. You want to do auditions? If you're really seriously doing auditions, it's the 90-second Lawrence Bayne show.
Yeah.
You walk in there and you own that fucking place. You're not nervous about it. You walk in and go, this is about me for 90 seconds. And then you doff your cap and you forget about it. Go home.
Anytime I've ever gotten any kind of a role, it's because I didn't really like. It's like whenever I think I didn't get it is when I get it. You know, whenever I'm just like, you know, maybe I
never know, man.
Yeah, I know.
Walking there thinking you did some gold, and then they hire you when you walk out thinking you shit the bed.
Exactly. It's any role I've gotten on a TV show or whatever, it's always been fairly. I've always been like, I derf that, and then I'll get a call a couple days later and be like, what the hell? Okay, you know, like so. Maybe there's something to be said about just the naturalistic.
You got a distinctive look, man. It's like you're gonna get the role because you look the way you do.
Yeah, I get a lot of calls for criminals and security guards and cops guy. And
Yesterday I had a goatee, man. You know, it had to come off for something I'm doing tonight. But you can
show. We're goatee friendly, actually. It's all good.
True. We sure are. We're facial hair friendly here.
Clearly, I'm among hirsute friends. It's good.
Yes.
All right, well, Davan, let me throw a random question out at us.
Okay, well, I'll start very random. So you grew up in Toronto you were born in Toronto in 1960, right?
Yeah.
So here's a question I have: do you remember the 1967 Stanley Cup? Because I heard it was a myth. So
it's certainly been long enough to become a myth for sure.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I was not raised hockey. I in fact got into hockey in about the last 10 years.
Oh wow.
Never
time to be a Leafs fan.
I'm a bad Canadian. I've never been a big hockey guy either. So
I'm gullible enough, let's say, to think that too. You know, they could happen. But I liked how they played. But sports is out of my purview. It's such a personal thing to me. I have a ridiculously huge TV, and I sit in front of it, and I scream like a freak watching sports. So it's a good cathartic, man. You know, it gets rid of other shit.
It is. I've always sort of realized that. Like, I used to kind of tease people, and they'd be like, "We won last night." Like, "Oh, we won last night." You know? We did. Oh, excellent! I didn't know we won. Fantastic. When is our check arriving for our victory?
That check.
But anyway, Davan, you go ahead. You can get another random question.
All right. Well, here's one I tend to ask our guests in some fashion or another. Were you familiar with Cable or the X-Men before you got the role?
Not at all.
Oh man, that's awesome.
not at all. It was in fact about the third animated thing I'd voiced. I knew I recognized X-Men. Mm-hmm. I recognized that. I've never been into comics. I recognized that X-Men was significant in as much as I'd heard it before, and if it gets through my filters, okay, it was important. Now, I don't think any of us knew how significant it was at the beginning. I don't think it's possible. I think all of us thought it was just a gig, but we got directed by people like Dan Hennessy, and we heard from LA about we were doing something important. And I think first of all, the most fun for all of us at the beginning, and I'll dare them to deny it, is that it was ensemble playing in a studio. So that's like the three of us right now. This would be the Zoom version where I got to do my line, you do your line, you do your line. And that was fun because we were in the studio doing it live. So the energy was magnificent.
That's got to be the best way to voice act. I mean, I can't imagine just doing it without hearing the other people. It must be tough.
I did Gargoyles in LA with pretty much the entire crew of the New Enterprise.
Oh wow.
And one special person, and long may he reign, Frank Welker.
Oh, awesome.
Oh yes.
All right, I got
They're gonna say Keith
to be
David. I was gonna
part
say
of a
Skelhorn.
voice. I got to be part of a voice with Frank Welker. He had to do a 3-headed Hydra, and the
Right.
director said,
Oh.
so what do you want to do? And he nudges me, and I'm sitting right beside him. He goes, nudges, you want to do one of these voices? Sorry, man, I've met more famous people than Frank Welker, but I nearly fucking melted right in my seat because I adore him. I worship the guy. Fantastic voice.
Oh man,
And
iconic.
I said, can
One
I?
of the best.
I said, can I do a high voice? He goes, well, let's hear it. So I'm, yeah, you do that. I'll do the low one. And it was a 3-headed Hydra. And of that 3-headed Hydra, Lawrence Bayne was one of the voices with Frank Welker.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
That's
I was
amazing.
honored beyond belief, man. So getting back to us in the studio, we knew each other, some of us, prior to going in there as actors. Voice was just a brand new burgeoning thing at that time. At that time, when we were all landing these voice gigs, there was probably about 1,000 of us in Toronto. Now there's fucking 10,000 of us, right? And I don't think the quality's gotten any better, to be quite honest. There's some people that I haven't heard before, but there's some people out there like Ellie Ray Hennessy, like, oh my God, the people I know and love in it are still in it. There's other people doing it, but there's a core group of people out there that I am, absolutely loyal to.
Awesome. Wow.
It's interesting though, but none of our other voice acting guests mentioned that you guys were doing it as an ensemble in the room. And
that's because they're
we
egotistical.
should have asked that.
Egotists, all of them. No, we all fed off each other, and no, they're all really incredible talents unto themselves. But for them not to mention that we would sit there and howl in between takes and say
I've
stuff.
never heard that.
That's
Wow.
selfish, really.
Now, since you had such a great relationship with Lawrence Spencer, were you aware of the connection of your two characters? That Cable was the son of Scott Summers when you were doing the show?
I compartmentalize a great deal.
Yeah.
What I do, and because, like I just said about auditions, it's the Dig Me show for 90 seconds. So when I've got Dan Hennessy and he's pulled me in to do something that is strictly just me, I don't know who I'm talking to until he tells me. And I will tell you that those details kind of get a little hazy over the years.
No, that's fine.
Okay. I mean, I didn't give a trivial line to anything, but I sometimes didn't know the import of the line.
Yeah, the importance that'll come later. And I'm sure even maybe I'm not sure in the comics at that point if that was something that was freely known when that was coming out.
Yeah, that's not something that I ever pursued. But what I always did in the studio was realize that when I was there alone to do pickup voices, and that was generally why I was called in alone, was to do utilitarian voices or hang around after, we'd release some other people and me do, 4 or 5 more. That it's never lost on me that the quality of the work never went down and that the connectivity of the cast was rock solid.
Well, I'll have a follow-up question then. For Cable, was there an inspiration for you? Is there a voice that you had in your head when you're doing the character?
I opened my mouth and I said, I got these from those Genoshan goons. I rolled it in the back of my neck for the first time. I thought for a second, I can sound, I got a good baritone, but what I wanted to do was swallow. I wanted to swallow, and I didn't want to sound like I was breathing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so that was it. That was Dan going, stay with that.
Nailed
That's
it.
fantastic.
Nailed it.
That's a great voice.
It's like the first thing you hear from Cable is the coolest thing ever, and I remember to this day.
Well,
you were just like, I'm the wild man of Borneo.
I'm the wild man of Borneo. Yeah. I love it.
It's so cool.
Because I was like, really? Am I the wild man from Borneo? I mean, I've heard that thing before. Like, I'm learning the words, and I am really selective. They give us, back then, not the whole script. They give you your sides. And if anybody else comes into the room, then you're reading off against it. But if it's just you, it's just your words. It's just that's what you're reading off paper.
There's probably no room for improvisation at that time in animation, was there? You said the lines and that was it.
No,
I
man,
didn't think so.
No.
The process took so long you couldn't reanimate if you had to. So
well, I think part of the magic of what we did was the process did not take that long. I thought that what the actors were doing at all times was just so immediate. And, nobody was doing 10 takes, man. We were doing 2. We were doing 3, and they would, and, the magic of the studio is that if we do a whole take with 5 actors and they like your take and that take, they'll keep it, but they'll make us all do it again to bring the other ones up to speed, to bring them up to the same, quality. That's a technical thing that I know happens, but the beauty of the way we did it was that it was like, okay, take 2, everybody, and I really, there's no getting past it. It was almost over before it started, that kind of ensemble animation acting. I did it literally for like 2 years. And then it was you came into a room and the stripes went together and you read, and that was it. I mean, I've been doing that for Bakugan for the last 2 years.
Right.
And it's rough because that stuff is a test of how you can get all that shit in there once it's over. But back then we were doing radio plays, man. That's what it was like. I did CBC radio plays and loved the fact. I mean, I did live ones too. Those were nerve-wracking.
No, I'd imagine.
Recorded CBC radio plays were it was stagecraft. It was listening to the actors.
I think there's still a dedicated group of podcasters out there doing a modern day stage plays, radio plays, but I would like to see it become more popular. It was such a cool thing, and now that podcasts are such a thing, I think it is really a lot of room to keep that tradition going.
I think so too.
Yeah, it was so good. All right, Davan, what do you got?
Well, it really shows though on that show. Like we've been going through all the episodes of this show, and there's a lot of things that kind of stand out as being quite good and excellent in that show, but it's really the voice acting that carries that show. Like even if there's a bad episode, we're like, well, that story was just awful. There's still like a bunch of zingers from all the characters that just make you smile the whole time anyway. So it's just
there's only a few examples if you're like nerds like us that grew up watching this, of shows that really captured the feel of the comics in such a pure way, and X-Files or X-Men is a big example of that. One of the few. There's only a few else out around the same time. Like Batman was a good one too in the 90s. But there's only a few things that you can really take the comic, flip through it, and see it represented on screen as closely as you can get from the books themselves. And I think that's part of why people love it so much.
I'm just gonna tip my hat to Canada too for that.
yes.
I'm going to tell you without any sort of modesty that Canada produces the best voice actors in the world.
Oh, agreed.
I mean, there's no possible way I could have gotten gigs in LA had I not been riding on the coattails of X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time I met the mouse, when I did gargoyles and stuff like that. And we're the best.
Yeah. Yep. Well, even the ones we spoke to from the show, like Lenore, I live in Toronto, Nova Scotia, and Lenore Zan was our MLA for like a decade. So, when my wife graduated from college, I was at I think it was recently after she was elected. I was sitting in the audience listening to her speech because the MLA was doing a speech, and I remember thinking, man, that voice sounds familiar, and then later on realizing who it was, I was like, holy crap, that's funny. You can hear it. She's not Southern, obviously, but you can hear it. No,
but it's smoky whiskey through honey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good description of her voice.
Nora's got the most enticing male killing voice.
Yeah, agreed.
She does.
Beautiful person, too. Beautiful person.
Yeah, we had her on the show. We had a great conversation.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
It's like when we had her on the show too. I'm just like, how is your voice not aged? Like,
it's funny. Even the folks that like we've heard that are all the people that have come back. Like sometimes they'll slip like yourself into doing the voice, and it's like it's seamless. Like you'd think after years and age that you would probably lose some of it, but it seems like you don't miss a step.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of them is because those folks take care of themselves, and a lot of, and for me, it's because I'm taking exactly the same care of myself.
Yeah, you were as little as you were back then. It's just the same.
I went into a studio.
It's consistency.
I went into a studio to do something, and I was on a break, and I went out and I was eating a cheese sandwich, and this little keener studio intern came out and goes, "Oh, cheese is bad for your voice." I said, "Yeah, I've heard that, and whiskey's bad for your voice too, right?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, this is how I got my fucking voice, buddy. Cheese sandwiches and whiskey. Thank you."
Yeah, whenever I do stage work, there's always food out back, and there's always a cheese thing, and everyone avoids it because they're afraid it's going to screw their voice.
Stage work scares the shit out of me. Stage work. I'm doing a staged reading of a play by a local luminary, C.C. Humphreys. It's called Shakespeare's Rebel, and I'm reading for. It's a staged reading, so it's formal, informal because there'll be some blocking, but I'm voicing William Shakespeare.
Oh wow!
And no, well, I know why I got it because I'm kind of intense, but I'm also kind of funny, and CC grabbed onto that. But doing stage work, that's very daunting. I did a play about 4 years ago for a 2-week run, and I was terrified more than ever that I was going to lose that voice. Because again, when you do stage, you have a director going, "We're not hearing you up there."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's always about projection. And
like, this is stage, right? With your voice. And this is voice in the studio. You can put it all into that mic right there, and everybody's going to hear what you do, and you can be intense and a little louder, but you don't have to be much louder. You just have to be, but all of this, the intimacy that you have to share when you're having an intimate moment, still's got to reach the gods, man. And that shit scares me. It really does.
Yeah, it's I've been doing it a long time. It's daunting. I still get incredibly nervous when I do shows, but I have another.
You got a good voice. You got a good rounded voice. So
yes, I've always wanted to do voice work, but they don't do a lot of animated stuff out here in my area. But I've
where are you? What area? Where are you in your area?
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. The wind just shifted direction, so I'm breathing in forest fire.
Well, you know what? Maybe I could shake your hand because I just auditioned for a show out there. So.
Oh, can you say what one? Because
I cannot, of course.
Because I've auditioned for a lot, but I've done background on a lot too. So I think
there's a part for you. I think there's a part for you on this.
Oh, we should send it to me. I would love to do it. Yeah. Tell your people to call my people.
Call my people. I've done some lovely stuff out there.
Well, if you're out here, let us know. We'll definitely meet up for beer.
Drink some whiskey.
Yeah. I'll bring a bottle. I got lots.
Fantastic. My career just keeps
just hanging out with the podcast guys in Nova Scotia.
This is the tippity top. It's all downhill from here.
No, I love it.
Well, I'm skimming through your discography. My God, your filmography.
That too.
I know that too. Actually, yeah. I mean, every time we have people on the show that do work on X-Men, we always make jokes. Like anytime we talk about a new voice actor that pops up on the show, they've always been on the same litany of Canadian TV shows. There's always Forever Night. There's always Due South. There's always Kung Fu Legend Continues. There's always Street Legal, FX the series, ENG, RoboCop.
Forever Night. Forever Night. We used to call that Cop Sucker.
The idea of that show was good. Like it's ripe for a remake. I'm surprised no one's done it yet because like that concept, like a vampire cop only working at night. I feel like it's dumb enough that Netflix will pick it up and it'll become really popular for some reason.
Yeah. It's a lost stock in a dryer. It'll be back.
But one I did see pop up that actually raised my eyebrow was Murder, She Wrote. What was working with Angela Lansbury like?
Legend.
What a trip that was. Like literally my agent, Carrie Follis, who I retired.
did they want to?
Because of all the money.
Carrie was the one who went to bat for me for so many things.
Oh, awesome.
She was wonderful. She's now a nurse. So I said to her, so now you're taking care of truly troubled people.
Yeah. Maybe someday it'll come around to work for you again.
Okay. I got called. She goes, "You're going to LA." And I went, Okay, nice. I go down every, for 3 months every year anyway. Why am I going now off the 3? She goes, you've been hired to be on Murder, She Wrote. Angela Lansbury saw a clip or something, and I was hired.
Wow.
And I
heard she really had an active role as far as that kind of stuff
oh
goes
my
in that
God,
show. She was
executive
very
producer,
hands-on.
executive producer. Her son directed me, and we get there, and Angela is the executive producer, and we're in the Malibu Canyon, and it's scorching hot, and we're waiting for the wranglers to clear the area that I'm supposed to walk through so that I don't get bitten by a rattlesnake. Like they're trying to clear out snakes and stuff like that. Angela's sitting in her chair, she's got her, umbrella over her, and she swore, and I was in love. She goes, how long is it going to take to set up this fucking scene? And I just loved her. Now, my character was named George Creech. And we line up to do our first shot. And she turns to me and she says, well, what do you think, Mr. Cheech? And I went, I don't know. Maybe we should get some pot and get high or something. Right? And she fucking knew the reference, man.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
That's
said,
good.
oh, I said Cheech. I said Cheech. I went, you did, honey. So let's go get high. And she's howling, laughing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did our scene together. Our last scene together. We clean up it comes to the denouement where she figures it out. Mm-hmm. And we're in a variety store setup back at the studio. And I said, well, then that's just fine. And on an impulse, and you don't do these days, although Angela would handle it these days too. I grabbed her hand and I held it up like this, and I put my arm around her waist, and we tangoed off the set. I fell in love with her.
I bet. Sounds like she did too.
Yeah, we had a good time. I've got 2 pictures I share every now and then on Facebook where she's looking at me going, you're some piece of work. Right? I got hair down to there, right? I mean, and it's my real hair back then.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
Oh, I miss my hair.
Yeah, well, me too.
And you two fuckers got enough to spare, at least, down here.
Yeah, not up here. There's a reason why I shared this. Yeah.
I just hide it for Andre's sake.
Why does it migrate that way?
Well, one thing I did see in your filmography that every once in a while you'll come across, especially with voice actors, because you guys do so much cartoons, and there's so many out there, like direct-to-video things or whatever. There's one that I had to do a bit more researching, because it raised my eyebrow the second I saw it. Was it the Adventures of Young Moby Dick? Which is like a child series about like a young Ishmael like teaming up with a friendly young Moby Dick. I was like, talk about something that really missed the point of the source material. By like,
you mean the whale?
Yeah, no, it's like
Ishmael and the whale.
It's like a young boy named Ishmael befriends this whale, and he goes on a ship.
My God.
And,
I gotta tell you, as much as you looked it up, I tried to forget it.
It made me. I was like, "What is this?" Like, think of all the things that a children's movie could be made out of. Moby Dick. Come on.
There was a bunch of religious based animated stuff we did. A lot of people from X-Men did it as well, including when I did My Dad the Rockstar, I did that with Don Franks. Don Franks,
that show. That was a great show.
He is an inimitable scoundrel, and doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny because we watched. I'm a big fan of the movie My Bloody Valentine, which they filmed in Nova Scotia, and Franks is in it as the police chief. And when I remember watching the movie recently, because I did a big like 30 or 40th anniversary screening of it with the guy that played the killer in it here in Cape Breton, where they filmed it. And I remember just watching it going, oh man, it's Don Franks. Like, it was so cool. It's been a million years since I'd seen it. I totally forgot he was in both.
And Don and I were on La Femme Nikita for 3 seasons as well.
Right.
He was on it from the beginning. I did 3 seasons as a guy named Davenport. And I always thought that was perfect because I was basically talking furniture. I just thought, Davenport was the love child of, the 2 at the top. But Don and I had a hoot there because that was the first time I ever went to anything that was like resembling a Comic-Con or anything like that. We went to a convention about Nikita. and it was
wow.
They had full conventions for that?
insane.
Wow.
In
There
Quebec
was
somewhere?
about 700 people at this hotel out the airport strip in Toronto.
Oh,
And
Toronto.
while I was on the series, I was voted second sexiest next to Ray Dupuis. And so I had to go for that, because I was lonely.
Of course.
But I went to this thing, and there was like 400 women lining up for Roy and me to sign stuff.
That's a good
I was assigned a former SAS hulking British brute as bodyguard.
Oh, nice.
And I needed him, man. I needed him because a woman came up and she started talking to me, and I said, "Here's what I'm going to." There was a semicircle, bench or place in a restaurant. The semicircular tables where you sit down, alcove kind of thing, and I seated myself in the middle so that they had to slide in and slide out, and this SAS guy was going to help monitor the situation. Well, a woman slid in there and she grabbed my hand, and she wasn't going to let go until I did something else, and I didn't know what that was. And he had to physically remove her from the place.
Wow.
And guys, it was a shock to me. I don't, my ego being what it is, it's kind of made out of stone, not rubber.
Well, these were the days before the internet. It's not like you could see how popular. All you heard is how popular the show was. You couldn't go on and see message boards of people talking about you or sharing fake pictures of you or any of that.
There were rudimentary. There were rudimentary message boards back then, and I did go on there to find out that I was way more popular than I for walking out there on Nikita and uttering like 7 lines of dialogue or 5 words of dialogue.
Well, I feel like that would have went straight to my head. That's for sure.
Oh, you know what? If it stays in your head gets fucked up.
That's fair. That's fair.
You gotta let it go.
Let it out. Yeah, let it out. It's funny. Your character's name is how I have to tell people how my name is pronounced. It's like Davenport.
It's like Davan.
Just get rid of the port. All right, Dad.
Just get rid of the port.
There was a real cop show on here, another sort of along the line of Top Cops that Al Waxman produced, and it was about real RCMP officers. And I played an RCMP officer, and I swear to God, this was his real name, Peter Organ.
I've met some organs before.
Yeah.
There's a guy I met one day. I was at a party when I was younger, and he's like, hey, this is my friend Kyle Cock. And I was like, what? And he goes, Kyle Cock. His last name is C-O-C-K. I made him show me his driver's license. That was his last name.
As long as he showed you just his license.
So I just need the license. That's fine.
Okay, I believe you. No, put it away.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Have more proof. Yeah.
All right, Dad,
So
what do you got?
I heard you also went up for the role of Wolverine. And of course, Cal got.
Yeah, man. Cal and I were neck and neck for that. We were neck.
How would your Wolverine have been different? Would it have been very much like the Cable voice, or?
I thought he'd be growly. I took on. I probably did exactly what Cal did. Only Cal just lent that musicality that he has to it, and I was probably just a little too forthright, just trying to be scary. Cal and I have similar voices. Cal and I both sing. Cal's voice is a little more baritone than mine. I'm a little less controlled in my baritone, unless I have to be. All Cal's got is a baritone, but fuck, what a baritone!
Oh, he's a great singer.
Here's the thing about that. Let me just tell you where I had a victory over Cal, if I may.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
My dad, the rock star. Okay, that was the story of Gene Simmons came up with from Kiss, the animated series. Cal and I went out for that. Cal went into the audition and sang because he knows how to sing, and I went in and I did a dissipated, stoned rock star voice. I know it was for kids, but it was, yeah, Willie, what are you gonna do? And I did that stuff, and I got hired. And then I said, well, my agent came back with, you got my dad, the rock star. I said, yeah, but Cal Dodd and a few other actors I knew who sang went out for it. And I said, and I wasn't known as a singer, but I'd been in a band since I was 14. I said, yeah, I'll take the role if I get to sing. And they went, oh, no, we've got somebody else for that. I said, fuck you. I either get the role with the singing or I don't want it. They go to Mr. Simmons himself, and they say, dude wants to sing. And Gene said, put him in a fucking studio, make him sing. So this Trix guitarist comes down. I worked with him on a Rolaids ad. The guy walks in, and he's got this guy's a guitar maestro, man.
Yeah.
He's got a little amp. He drags it beside him, and he's got a million effects pedals. He's already got, and he plays. And so I did rock and roll all night and party every day. And they sent it back to Gene, and then I got it. And every song you ever hear sung on My Dad the Rockstar is me singing.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
They're all Kiss tunes?
No. They're all no. Come on.
No, they'd be original things. I don't think the show could probably afford
in
that.
the ladies' room. Come on, it's a kids commercial.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Listen, I didn't even get away with an improv I wanted to do with that, and I got away with improvs on that show.
Oh, excellent!
I got away with doing some improvs, but there was one where I go fishing with my son Willie, who is brilliantly played by Joanne Vanicola. They're amazing, and so we're fishing, and I fall into the water, and all of a sudden I'm out of the water because there's crabs attached to me. And what I said was, "Not crabs again." They didn't let me have that one.
Oh
no!
Yeah,
you could almost sneak by that one.
It's a kids cartoon, but I did 56 episodes of that with Don Franks, Joanne Vanicola. I'm not remembering the names, but a brilliant cast for a year, every week, and that's fun.
Is that one ensemble or?
Yeah, we were
booth. It
almost
was
all the time. No, I think almost all the time. I think that might have been the last ensemble thing I actually ever did. After that, it all just became, boring. I mean, boring because I liked ensemble. I mean, I don't mind hearing my own voice. I love the sound of my own voice. But when you get in a studio with people of talent and people of commitment and people of humor, I think it just ups your game.
Yeah, agreed. When you
Same
like
with music,
right?
Yeah,
you've been on. You can be on stage with people, and if they're just a sink of energy, sometimes some people raise others up, and some people bring them down.
I have I've been on stage with both.
Yes, me too.
I'm very fortunate. I think. I mean, I hear horror stories from other people, and I don't have many. I really don't. No. I mean, I don't have a horror story so horrible to share with you. I mean, I really don't.
No, generally, by the time you do, so many months of rehearsal to get to your production, you got to most of the kinks are ironed out usually.
Well, or you're just gonna go. This is how it's gonna go. Fucking buck up and do it. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, that's a great way to go. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Here's one. Well, I got to say, I've been listening to your band. Give me a second.
Damn Inferno Machine.
No, it's some damned device.
Simple.
No, it's simple damn device. Sorry about that. I should have remembered that because Simple's in my band name too, but that's our connection.
Where have you been listening to that? On YouTube? There's a couple of tracks there, but I don't.
You're on Spotify too.
Get the fuck out! Really?
Apple Music.
Yeah, that's where I was listening to you. Yeah.
I wonder who's getting the money.
Spotify.
Well, apparently, what is it? I think someone has to listen to your song 60 times for you to make a
dime.
Yeah, or like a penny, I think it is. So
send me an Indian nickel. That's fascinating to me. And interestingly enough, I mean, Simple Damn Device has been defunct for a while. Based on I only get along with the collaborator on that, Kevin. He's the guitarist. But I'm in a new band now. And this is some funky, weird shit, man.
Oh, nice.
I was looking around, and a call from the past, a friend I've known since high school called and said, "Hey, man, you want to come out and sing with us? Check us out and stuff." And I said, "Okay, what's the name of your band?" And without a word of a lie, the name of the band is 1111.
No, it's a sign.
1111. I went out and bought a $400 vocal pedal today just to go to this show. First time to see them.
That's awesome.
I'm actually that confident that we're going to do some stuff. So
I don't believe in signs, but if I did, that would be one of them.
Well, you know what? I don't believe in the 11/11 shit either.
Wow.
To be quite honest. Come on, man.
It makes a good story.
It makes a good story.
I love a good story.
That's
and
true.
You know, if I was a 19-year-old boy, I'm still trying to pick up girls, I'd stoke that shit. But I'm 60.
Everyone's a believer at 19.
That's true. Well, I see you got to work on. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm a huge fan of the graphic novel. You worked in Essex County this past year.
Yeah, it was a short day. It was a short day. I didn't get to do much. I like Essex County. I looked it up afterwards. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I got the part, and it was literally, half an hour's work. That's
Awesome.
hard for me. That's hard for me with fans who really like what I've done, and I don't remember.
That's fair. No, that's fine.
I can't pull the same significance from it as they do.
I mean, the comic is kind of, I feel like Jeff Lemire is one of our greatest Canadian comic writers. I'd say it's that, and I mean that show Sweet Tooth on Netflix is based on one of his books as well, which I love the comic, and the show's good too. So it's just it's cool that they they take one of his first books. I think that was like his first big book. And
you got to look for a Red Ketchup out there. Red Ketchup is an animated thing. Just got put on Teletoon in both French and English, and I'm part of that.
Do you do the French and English voices?
I do the voices. And my agent Carrie, to go back there, very fluent in French, hears me talk French and goes, "Shut up, please, no, don't speak
Why
French.
Dupuis does that?
Don't.
Where is this Red Ketchup show at? It looks amazing.
Just punch it in, you'll find it.
Oh no, I found the trailer on IMDb. It looks amazing.
I'm the dissolute, drunken, pederast Russian father.
Oh, perfect.
And I also play the Pope on it.
Oh, beautiful.
It's fucking lovely and ugly and deadly. I do like it. I get a little bit of the adult stuff every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last 3 months, I've been doing a lot of Indigenous elder stuff for cartoons aimed at 4 to 10-year-olds, and I love doing that too because it's a challenge for the director. Because I'm like, and they go, no, okay, I get it. Right. And then but some of them are also Indigenous accents that I've banked over the years that I love bringing out.
I was gonna say, do you feel like, are you comfortable doing like something that would be seemingly a stereotypical like Indigenous accent? Do you feel like that's something?
I've got directors at the other end of the line who are Indigenous who are directing me. If they thought I was being stereotypical, they'd slap my dick down.
Oh,
man.
good, excellent. So, I'm happy to hear that. No,
they're the ones who say a little softer there, a little back in the palate more, and
good.
And I researched them. Because, I mean, it's definitely a question of love for me to get Indigenous characters right, especially when I'm communicating to children.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I assume as just someone like most people that belong to any kind of a culture like that representation in media is important. So being able to contribute to that must be very rewarding.
It is, and I love the duality, tripleality, quadrality of my life, where I'm allowed to be, profane and loud, and then I have to pull it in to remember, my humanity, and I helped raise I actually raised my younger brothers for about a period of about 7 years. And so, communicating with children, I'm a children's advocate, like fierce, man.
Excellent.
If I want to swear and do all this other shit too, I'll tell you where I get really nasty, and that's if you mess with kids.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
I hope so, man.
Do you have children of your own?
Yeah.
I do not have children of my own. I will tell you why, because I recognized the profane and the nasty when I was 24, and the nomadic life I wanted to lead as an actor.
Yeah.
And as like I said, I was reading at 5, so some thoughts occurred to me maybe that should have occurred to some of my friends growing up. when they got, kids when they were 17 and 18.
Yeah.
Now, all of them, almost all of them to a fault, have been fantastic parents. And I'd like to think I had something to do with it, because whenever they sort of get angry or, seem negligent, I'm the first one down their necks about it.
Yeah, good.
But I, myself, no. I'm a better uncle than a dad, man.
Yeah. I get that feeling too.
And wait till you're already ancient and then have a kid.
I love that ancient thing. I mean, I'm 62 years old. I have the libido of a 19-year-old. I have the heart of a 5-year-old, and I keep that in a lucite block on my desk.
I was gonna say, I always said the same thing. I think I'd be a better uncle than a dad, but unfortunately, I don't think my brother's thinking the same thing, because he hasn't had any kids either. So, I guess we're both holding out.
Don't worry, my baby girls will call you Uncle Andre. How's that?
That sounds good. And Uncle Lawrence now.
Hey, call me Uncle Lawrence.
Uncle Lawrence, of course.
I'm
Uncle
not
Lawrence.
The weird uncle. I'm the fierce uncle.
That's
I'm the fierce uncle. Yeah.
All right,
the uncle that takes Daddy-O drinking. We're gonna be having
best kind.
All right. Well, I got more.
Go for it.
Go.
Well, here's something. I haven't heard of your new band, of course, but Simple Damn Design. I enjoyed quite a bit, and as Andres pointed out, I'm a bit of a music snob. So
he is.
Yeah, I am. But it's interesting. It's almost like the B-52s and like the Stone Temple Pilots were thrown in a blender.
What? I got to listen to this. I got a cryptic message from Davan today that just said, Simple Damn Design. Let's go get into Simple Damn Design.
In India.
First of all, fellas, it's Simple Damned Device.
Yeah, Device.
Sorry.
And I've always seen it.
Butchering that band name tonight.
We always called what we were doing rhythm and brews.
Oh, I like it.
I like it.
My lyrics are pretty hard, and they're all my lyrics. Okay, they're all my thing. I don't write love songs. I write songs about why the fuck are people in love.
Yeah.
I write songs about children's rights in their own fierce way. And I write songs about being lost. Because when you're sitting down and you're writing and you're thinking, I don't know anything about how people think, but I think I know about how people feel.
That sounds like a lyric itself.
It isn't.
We're talking to a poet.
You have to drop that down.
Yeah, please do. That's a good line. Remember that one.
Well, poetry, my favorite.
You've got some of your poetry as well, and you definitely got a poetic voice.
It's simple. It all starts with trust. So much love you don't feel the knife thrust deep till you're suddenly bleeding, choking, crying, begging, pleading. It was you that jumped on this happy wagon. Now in a bag, your heart you're dragging home where you probably should have stayed in the first place. Then you wouldn't be wearing such a long face. Hey man, why you looking so confused? You've just been loved and left and used. Kind of like getting mugged while being seduced, but staying alone at home only makes it worse. Soon you quote that Bachelor chapter and verse. Gonna stay in and watch the game. I'm not going out. I don't need the pain, but the outside has a way of getting in all the same until it fills the room and it finds you, throws your clothes at you, reminds you that if you stay in again, to begin again only gets harder, and they're all getting smarter and the years are just stealing by. It's time to start healing. Never surrender, but remember that feeling that you had in the teenage when you were a clean page, running, jumping, crashing, burning, cramming the life in and all the time learning. Nothing important because it all fucking mattered. And then you discovered the lie and it shattered. Santa, the elves, the TV family, mama's little angel was an unplanned pregnancy. Daddy's always saying you got something to prove. You said fuck all that and you made your move into the city where it claimed you for one of its own. You got a car, a space, you carry a phone, but when you check for messages, nothing after the tone. Too late you learned there is no place like home, Dorothy.
Very nice. Oh,
thanks, man.
That's awesome.
I can't believe I got through that. I haven't said that
fantastic.
shit in about 5 years. I can't believe I got through that. Wow.
That's amazing.
I liked that it was to the tune of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Shit, man.
Oh, no.
My ear catches all.
Hopefully, hopefully, all you get from Will Smith is a cease and desist letter.
I'll slap him in the face if I ever see him on a stage.
There you go.
Oh,
I got my money on Lawrence.
Oh, 100%. That's amazing. Oh, dude, so
yeah.
cool. Yeah, no, the album's on Apple Music. I just added to my playlist. So,
Jeez Christ.
right
So
there.
go on YouTube as well, and then punch in Lawrence Bayne issue. Lawrence Bayne on YouTube. There's songs there. Some of them are live, and one of them I just got out of the hospital after collapsing the night before with chest pains that were not heart related. Don't know, just fell down. And then
Really?
I was on stage at Lee's Palace the next day. And I was sort of sitting in the chair because one of my legs was still kind of numb.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, man. But I'm in the peak of health. And you know, like I said, I like other people.
It's the cheese and the whiskey. It's keeping you going.
So who are some of your musical influences?
Well, lots and lots. As a kid growing up, I mean, I hung out with a largely black family and black friends, and so a lot of R&B at the beginning. Randy Jackson, Clay Jackson, Steve Lee, fantastic people. And music was we'd listen to a radio station that would come in from Buffalo late at night on the skip, and so there was R&B that they weren't playing in Toronto. Then in 1977, I was gobsmacked by two albums. Asia by Steely Dan, because those are some fucking fierce, hard lyrics.
I thought you were going to say the band Asia. I was going to say
incredible. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was going to say that's surprising.
I punched this guy.
Yeah. I said I was surprised. I was like, Asia, okay.
Please lose that thought and let me finish. All okay, right. So you got Asia by Steely Dan, that lyrically is among their filthiest, darkest, so wonderfully couched lyrics, which made me a lyricist. And then in that same year, and this is hard to believe for some people, Never Mind the Bollocks.
Oh, Sex Pistols.
They came out in the same year, and I was gone, man. I was going to write like both of them. I was going to be in a band that sounded like both of them. And I think that's, if you listen to Simple Damn Device, I think that's who we sound like a little more than,
that works.
Yeah, I love the lyrics of both. I mean, John Lydon, quick humble brag, went into a bar in Yorkville, Toronto, and there was John Lydon sitting there. I said, I love you, man. He goes, fuck off. And I said, I'll buy you a pint. He goes, yeah, fuck off and buy me a pint. So sat down, got about 15
Pay the man and go away.
Got about 15 minutes of his time.
Oh, good.
And now I gotta sell this story to you, because this is true too. 4 a.m, I am walking down Yonge Street, Toronto. No idea why. No concept as to how completely messed up I am. And I roll into Fran's Restaurant, which is at College and Yonge. And at the back, sitting in a 2-person booth, is Iggy Pop.
Oh my God.
And I'm walking back there, and I don't know who he is, man. I don't know who he is.
Was he wearing a shirt?
For an embarrassingly long time. I don't know who he is for an embarrassingly long time. I walk back, and I'm looking back, and he goes, hey, man, come and sit down with me. I got invited. I sit down. I look across and go, holy fuck, it's Iggy Pop. Because I'm stoned out of my mind, too. And we sat there for 2 hours and talked about I don't know what, because you'd have to hypnotize me to get it back. But I sat and talked with Iggy Pop for 2 hours. And my last rock star appearance, I was in England, and I was in a punk pub. And who was sitting in the corner? Jeff Beck.
Oh, wow.
And I sat and talked with him.
Holy crap.
Those are my rock stars, man. Yeah.
Well, of the ones you got some pretty big ones. That's amazing.
No, Iggy's God to me, man. Iggy's rule of lyric writing is 25 words. 25 words. That's all you write.
I'm scanning through his songs. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, he doesn't fuck around, man. Oh man, his latest one is just savage stuff. Iggy's still here. Iggy is like on par with Keith Richards for longevity.
Longevity. Yeah, we'll see who. It'll be interesting to see who lasts longer between those
Let's
two
take
for sure.
bets. $25 says Keith lasts longer than Iggy.
Yeah, I'm not taking that. I don't. There's something going on there with Keith Richards. I don't know what it is, but I'm not betting against it.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
I think he's like a genie of some sort that just has been out of his lamp for too long.
Yes, he's a dark gin, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Gin, yeah.
I saw him live twice, and I was trying to figure it out. I'm just like, I need this secret. I want to live.
It's like a hologram. He's been dead for 20 years. They just keep him going holograms.
That's the secret.
That would be fascinating.
Him and the Paul McCartney hologram hang out on weekends.
Turns out Mick was never real. He was always
he's an actor.
Oh, man. Well, he's a shitty actor. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even in his music videos,
Keith's a better actor. I loved him.
And you know what? Apparently, a better singer.
Oh man, I have every.
Keith Richards has a golden voice.
Song. It's just straight fucking hurting blues, lazy, drunken, high blues, but his notes, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Mick doesn't sing. Mick yells. Mick growls. If you want the best Mick, you're gonna have to listen to Black and Blue. Mm-hmm. Black and Blue is the best Mick. Oh, no, it's transcendental Mick. Wherever he is, he's very happy in that moment. Fantastic album, Black and Blue. It's my favorite.
They kind of started as a blues band mostly, didn't they? It was like
of course they started Alex Corner's Blues Club in England, and all they wanted to do was blues, and all they wanted to do was covers. And then all of a sudden it was Keith going, "No, come on, let's write a fucking song."
Yeah.
But it never strays far away. But if you listen to Get Off My Cloud, that's the birth of punk. Mm-hmm. That's the birth of punk. Fucking Charlie's machine gun drums. No, it's fantastic. I mean, when I play that song real loud, it could have been done by The Clash yesterday. Fantastic stuff.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, you're right there with the yelling too. Like he's really yelling. Hey, get off!
Yeah.
Very pumped.
It's even the lyrics too. Fuck you, get off my cloud. It's like it's very in your face. And what's the other one he does? Oh, the Queen is bravely shouting. What the hell is going on? Oh, I can't remember the song, but it's way back there. And they were punk, man. Like before the word, before the idea.
Yeah, well, even like you just listen to Mick's, like even in Painted Black, and so like towards the end when it gets into the streamy repeaty part, it's very punk. Like even
Well, he doesn't sing. He rarely sings, and when he's tried, it's been embarrassing to be quite honest.
Yeah, you kind of pick your lane and stay in it, right?
Okay, one exception: Wild Horses.
Yeah, that's true.
Wild Horses, something that he was able to grasp there.
I feel like Angie has a little bit of a melodic. Little bit.
I'd like to hear a raw track of him singing that without.
That would be cool.
I don't think it would last.
Angie.
Oh, when it gets to the never meant to make you cry. Anyway. Yeah, I guess it does get into the it's pretty funny.
It's more like breathing.
Kind of, yeah. But it's amazing to me that because love has to carry you through once you hit a certain age. Like you have to love doing music to be in your 70s, getting into 80, and still wanting to go out and do it on stage almost every night with that band. Like you have to. You can't tell me. I always say, you look at these guys like Elon Musk or whatever, they got more money than or Putin, for instance. He's probably the richest man in the world. Like you have more money than anything. You could do anything you want in the world. You could stay in the 6-star hotels every night. You could fly anywhere, live in Australia for a year. It doesn't matter. Like it's a drop in the bucket to the amount of money you have. So much so that you wouldn't even probably notice it on a balance sheet to do that when you're that rich. But why would you still go do anything? Like why, when you're that rich, why wouldn't you just live?
Passion.
Yeah, I think it's a power. Well, for artists, I think it's passion. For people like Putin or whatever, I think it's a power thing. But
I keep hoping that I'm going to win the big lottery, and I have the billboard set up, and it'll be at about 4 strategic places in Toronto where I know people I know will see it, and it'll be me on a surfboard, on a wave of money, dollar bills,
I love it,
naked. With the finger behind me, like that, and I'll never work again.
Yep.
because I love, and then you'll have to call me back for passion.
Yeah.
Because other than that, I'm going to get me an island in Northern Ontario for one. And then
not even tropical. Just go to Northern
Ontario.
Ontario.
No, man, Northern Ontario. Excuse me, I was a Boy Scout in Toronto, and I love Northern Ontario. And then
the ones with no black flies, though.
Oh, come on, man! Don't go during Black Fly. You're a fucking millionaire. Why would you go?
You have a black fly net around your house. You're a millionaire.
I'll dome the whole island.
That's right.
And then out where you are, I'd get one on the shore. Not BC. I won't go there. But I'd come out to your way and get one because I have friends out there, and I can
show you some good spots.
The wildness of that out there. It's a wilder ocean. It's. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's
beautiful. And then right here in Toronto, at the top of a really big building, a completely glass enclosed penthouse.
Yep.
And then you'll never hear from me again unless you want me to do something that arouses my passion. And that's a dream for me. Yeah. Also, the northern thing was getting an island and building a roller coaster on it, where you have to come in to the dock, and I don't care who you are, you got to get on the roller coaster.
Yeah, the way to get to your house is on the roller coaster.
By the way, if you've noticed, if you get off the roller coaster, there are lions and bears that I've put there.
This is you got quite the Bond villain island set up here.
It's not like I'm going to be up there helping mankind,
You got like a solid white jumpsuit with a little scar through your eye, just stroking the cat.
Man, I am fucking naked the whole time. That's there's no clothes. I'm like, hey, welcome to my house. What, you don't like this? Leave.
Yeah,
you have to take the roller coaster.
Yeah, that's right. The only way out is the same roller coaster you came in on.
Are you wearing anything under that cat? No.
Under the hat? Yes, of course I'm wearing. Yes, okay.
The roller coaster back stops 20 feet before the boat, so you got to run through the lions and the bears to get out.
Yeah, no, it goes real slow. Goes real slow at times where there you do see the lions and the bears and
where the silverback gorilla might get you.
And of course, speakers everywhere, sending out horrible sounds. No, I need you. I just need you to arrive at my door all the same. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna be rich, you're gonna be poor, you're gonna be my friend, you're gonna be a new guest. You're all arriving at my door with the shit scared out of you.
Yeah, that's a great way to go. I feel like you can achieve that in your day-to-day life. You don't need to be a millionaire to do that.
I do all right with the local.
Oh, good, excellent. I feel like I want to go to the Lawrence Bayne haunted house. That's gonna at Halloween. It sounds like it'd be a real fun time.
It's fun time.
Somehow the Jehovah's will still make it to your door, though.
But only the toughest. They'd have to be really tough.
Yeah. Okay, this is the last story I'm going to tell you, and it has to do with Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay, I'm in. I'm locked in.
I lived in several party houses growing up. Okay. There were not growing up. I just lived in several party houses. I haven't grown up, but either way, I'm with 7 people live in this house, 4 guys, 3 girls. It's very intermingling and all that shit. And, one morning we look out and we see the Jehovah's Witnesses are making their way up the street towards our house. We decide to all strip off. At the door, the 2 girls in the house open the door. Buck. And the poor stammering young boys in their little suits, their little ties,
no.
And then guys coming up behind them, equally nude. One of them even managed to look aroused. And came and was, come on, honey, come back into the house like this. And that's, those guys lost their minds that
day. You probably helped them. Maybe it awoken something.
I'd like to think I did, but
no, I prefer to think I didn't.
I prefer to think that they went home and forsook their God.
Yes, that's right.
And they went, I'm going to California.
I'm going back to that house. Yeah.
Okay, that's me. I'm drained, boys.
All right. Well,
if you got, I'll give you 2 more if you got them.
Davin, what do you got? Because I
got a couple rapid fires. Why not?
Time, so,
rapid fire, and I'll give you rapid fire answers. I promise.
All right. Did you happen to see Josh Brolin's portrayal of Cable, and what did you think?
Yep, great.
If you could time travel, time slide any place and time, where would it be?
1979.
Oh, good year.
Oh,
Solid year.
1979. Go back and listen to those albums while they were still pretty fresh.
Damn right.
Yeah. Thought I had one more.
Well, my last question was how much, because
Yeah.
right now we're watching the 4-parter at the end of season 4. We watched the first episode that sets up the Beyond Good and Evil, so which introduces all the stuff. How much do you get to voice act with the actor that does Apocalypse's voice?
Yes, I
You
did.
guys, well, how much fun was
On
that?
Colicos.
Yeah,
John,
that voice.
Listen, man, there's a bar in Toronto. They'll make this quick because I was just there yesterday. There's a bar in Toronto called Paupers.
Mhm.
John Colicos, that's where I met him. John Colicos was always a very good friend of August Schellenberg, who was my spiritual father and an amazing actor. There's a plaque in Paupers that says his name and his birth and death, and every time.
Oh, that's sweet. Awesome. Well, what a joy.
Remember my last question, because it's Andre's favorite question. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, man, that shifts every now and then, but right now, Ex Machina.
Oh, good choice.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of that.
First of all, amazing soundtrack. Amazing soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alicia fucking Vikander. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
She's gorgeous and she's subtle. And her talent, it wasn't robotic like I was expecting. Oh, good. You know what? Almost anybody can pull off a half android voice, if you surround them with enough CGI. But she brought something even. And Oscar Isaac, fantastic actor. And Gleason. No, the whole thing was great. And it was filmed in one of my favorite places, Iceland. So, and I loved the film. I loved the Frankensteinian, tip of the hat to Mary Shelley. I loved, right now, I just kind of watched that. Fantastic. Now, if you want
Have
to
you seen his other movies?
Who? What
the director, Alex Garland, he did Annihilation, the one with Natalie Portman.
Oh, it's a terrible movie.
Yeah, I didn't like that one?
No, not at all. Not at all. Fucking overweening, overwrought, and where are the actors? No, I'm sorry. Nope, didn't like it. Yeah. Anything else? What else did you do?
Men, that came out this past year.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's like a woman that goes to this small British town, and all the men are played by the same actor. It's interesting. They're all very different design, but it's sort of about toxic masculinity, I guess, more than anything. But he also wrote the script for Dread. He wrote the script for 28 Days Later, and also wrote the script for Dread, the Carl Urban.
28 Days Later is fabulous, man.
Yeah, he's a really good writer.
Classic.
Fucking fabulous. And no, well, the director brought 28 Days Later to the. Come on,
Danny Boyle. Yeah,
Danny Boyle, and the effects on that. And there's the other Gleason, right? Brendan Gleason, who I love.
Dom, yeah, Brendan, yeah.
Yeah, Dom now was in it, but Brendan,
son, yeah.
Absolutely fabulous actor. I love talking movies, man. We can go on.
I could too. I love the Banshees of Inisherin. Have you seen that? The one that
I just watched it. I did it for research for an Irish voice that I was coming up with, and it needed to be real rural Irish. And
that's a good one for that.
Oh, fantastic! It fit and heartbreaking. Man, it was heartbreaking.
I've seen very few. I've seen a lot of breakup movies. I've not seen a lot of breakup friendship movies, and that one is an amazing job of it.
Well, it's not saleable. Buddy movies are supposed to be about we break up all the way through it, but we love each other. But the idea of starting movies with "fuck you, I don't want to be around you anymore," and then trying to recoup that through the whole thing and failing. Fantastic movie.
It's
if you ever want to chat movies for 3 hours, you're welcome to come on my movie podcast anytime you like.
They do.
I'm there, man. I'm there.
It is long. All right, sweet.
Well,
you get to pick a movie that we watch as well.
This has been awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Oh, this has been a real
I
pleasure.
really
We look forward to
appreciate
hearing
it.
your voice in whatever version it is in season 2 of.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I can't
when you
wait.
identify it, give me a call because
All right.
Oh, yeah.
because once people out there identify it, then maybe I can say, yeah, that's me. But right now,
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna
We
be
will.
looking. I'm
We'll be
very
waiting.
curious now.
all right,
Thanks a
man.
lot.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to meet
Thanks
Have a
you.
good night.
man. Take care. Sign me off.
1, 2, 3.